Today we're going to make fried rice. This is not going to be traditional. I am 0% Asian, so this is just how I like to make it. This is day-old rice. I made this in my rice cooker yesterday. Made a video reviewing that thing. It is fantastic. So just make some rice, put it in the fridge, and let it dry out for a day. You could also use day-old takeout rice if you got a little extra, if you're thinking ahead in the week. I like to mix Spam into my fried rice as well. I think the fattiness of it and the texture, it also works really nice in the fried sense. So we're going to cut these into a nice small dice. I like to cut about a 1/4 inch thick piece of it and then just go through, cut long horizontal pieces, and then just cut it nice and crosswise to small-ish dice. The bigger the pieces, the more chew they'll have in the middle. The smaller you get them, the more you can fry them and get a little more crunch. So you just kind of dictate how you want it. But I'm making about a portion big enough for 2 people here, so this is about roughly how much you want. It's just about a 1/4 inch slice. I'm also going to take 1 green onion scallion out. We're going to use both ends of it, and we're also going to need 1 egg. You can omit any of these if you want. If you just want to fry rice with soy sauce, that's totally fine. Next, we're going to, I like to personally cook the Spam on the side. It helps get it crispy because while you're doing everything else in your pan, sometimes it can get a little bit mixed in and it won't get that crisp. So if you cook them on the side, take them off when they're done, you can usually get a better result. So I just recommend doing that if you're going to have a meat in your fried rice, cook it on the side. Going to cut up this scallion a little bit from both ends. I'm going to put the thicker side in earlier in the rice because it'll be a little more robust and let out a little flavor. The thinner other side I like to garnish with and throw at the end. If it overcooks, in my opinion, it doesn't really have as nice of a flavor. So we're going to use these in 2 parts. Thicker side earlier, greener side after. I'm going to cook this also in just one of my large all-clad pot pans here. I know not everyone has a wok, so I'm not going to use that. I'm trying to keep this as simple for, the masses as possible. But I'm going to get some oil real hot, and then I'm going to pour off all the excess. I like to use it to get this stainless steel as non-stick as possible. So put in a little extra and pour off what you don't need. Throw in an egg, fry that up real quickly. Chop it up into little pieces, make it as scrambled or not scrambled as you want. I'm going to use a metal spatula here to just really finely kind of cut it, but you could use whatever you have. See, it didn't really stick to the bottom, which is nice. That's what happens when you get it real nice and hot. And then right away, we're just going to add in our rice. This is 1 full cup of rice I'm using. You could adjust it however you want. 1 cup, in my opinion, will make about a 2-person portion. Try to break it up as you pour it into the pan. It will just help overall because you're going to need to go in there and break it up. I like to use a rubber spatula in this guy, and it just makes it a little harder to break it up. So break up as much of it as you can beforehand. I'm going to add the Spam right in here. See, normally this is where people might add it, but since I've pre-cooked it, it is already nice and crispy. If you threw it in here uncooked, you're not going to get that crisp because it's mixing with so many other things. It's not getting as much of that crisping time. So that's why I think you should cook it on the side. But now just for about 5 minutes, you're going to cook this. I like to every once in a while flatten it out like that so it's getting as much surface area on the bottom. I like to have those little crispy rice pieces in there. This is the best way I found to achieve that. And you want to do the bulk of the cooking before you add the soy sauce. So this is about 5 minutes later. I'm now going to use I'm using low sodium just to get a little less salt in this. This is the only seasoning I'm also using. Some people add MSG, totally fine with that. It's just hard to get in most supermarkets. I don't have any issues with it. I don't think it has health issues. Use it. It's what all Chinese food restaurants use. But mixing it in here, I like to pour it over that spatula. That way it doesn't all pour in one place. Mix it around. If you see that it's not covering all of your rice, add in a little bit more, but that's the color I like to go for. A real kind of palish brown. You don't want it dark. That's just going to be too much salt flavor. Add in the top part of the green onions here. I added the other thicker parts off camera, but it was when I first added the rice. And now just keep mixing. You're gonna see when the rice starts to stick to the bottom. That's right when the crispiness really starts to get to its peak. So right here, I see it sticking. I know it's basically ready. All in all, that took about 5 more minutes. I'd say maybe 7 to 10 minutes total was the cook time here. I'm gonna plate this up somewhat fancy. You don't need to do this. Just pour it into a bowl and eat it. But I'm gonna make one of those nice little rice mold looks, little mountain of rice. So just pour it into a bowl, really kind of pat it down, flip your plate over, put it on there, flip that all over, and then just give it a good whack on the top so it comes loose from the bowl. And then you get that cool little presentation. You don't need to do this. This is just fun for YouTube. But that does look kind of cool. I'm going to garnish it now with the leftover ends of the green onions, the greener, thinner parts. and you're done. This is just super simple, a great way to use leftover rice. But most importantly, it tastes good. It's got different textures in there from the egg, the Spam, crispier rice, less crispy rice, a little bit of the green onion. It's texturally just fantastic. So easy to make, and you could adjust it with whatever ingredients you want. Add some carrots, do whatever you want. It's delicious.